Blackity black, blacker than black, black. I'm blacker than black, yo. Because I'm black and I'm back. Yo, I'm black and I'm black.
Chill. Hey. Y'all ain't know these shit. Ain't safe no more, fuck boy. No, they ain't safe, nigga. Ain't no motherfucking secret, nigga. Travel motherfucking die, nigga. Zone 1, Zone nigga. Mac Town, lace them up, put them on, nigga. Nigga. Chill. Slick puller, what's happening, nigga? USDA, nigga. I'm here. Hey.
You win some, you lose some. But you live. You live to fight another day.
This city deserves a better class of criminal. I'm gonna give it to him. No! You'll see.
What's going on, YouTube? We back in the Low Key Cave, Keyshawn Knobs YouTube page, aka Mr. Low Key, and we are back with another movie review, and we are doing a retro review, and we of course are doing the Dark Knight 2008, Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight, the legendary Dark Knight, the phenomenal Dark Knight, the movie of all movies, not just comic book movies, but the movie that just went above and beyond expectations. Like, whatever expectations you had for this movie going into watch it, it absolutely blew them away. And for me, I had the privilege of going to the movies to see this. I am pretty much doing a retro review of the Dark Knight leading up to Matt Reeves' The Batman, and I'm trying to do something like reviews of my favorite Batman movies. So after this one, I might try to do like the 1989, if I'm not mistaken, 1989, the Tim Burton Batman with Michael Keaton, the first Batman. I'll probably do that one, and after that one, I'll probably do like the Dark Knight Rises, like, because that's like my order. As far as top 3 Batman movies, it's Dark Knight, it's Tim Burton's Batman, and Dark Knight Rises. And like I said, I had the privilege of going to see this, and I'm just here to pretty much give my opinion, my expression, and how I felt about this movie. Like I said, there ain't too much I can say or even review or break down about this movie that ain't been broke down since 2008 going into we in 2022. People have dissected this movie. People have broke this movie down into itty bitty little pieces to something you can't talk. Like, anything you say about this movie has already been said, and I know that. But the thing about it is, this is one of the movies that, for me, redefine comic book movies. I had watched comic book movies before this. You had, of course, your Incredible Hulks. The one I like in particular with Edward Norton. The one even before that one, I didn't like that much, but I mean, it was the Incredible Hulk. I was looking forward to a live-action Incredible Hulk movie besides the TV show that they had in the early, 80s or something like that. But anyway, pertaining just to comic book movies overall, it just wasn't a comic book movie that hit me like the movie Dark Knight did. Wasn't no comic book movies out that just hit like that. Like, in the same time, this was Iron Man. And even with Iron Man, it was like, this was good. You don't get it wrong, Iron Man was good, but it was not like this Dark Knight. Going into this movie, I was already super hyped. Like I said, I was a Batman fan. I always have been a Batman fan. I love Batman's villains. I love Batman's arc as far as his story. We had not really have got a good live-action Robin yet. Maybe we're going to get there with Matt Reeves. But he just has that story, to me, that's just a standout above and beyond other comic book heroes, even his counterparts in the DC comics. Being that he don't have superpowers, he has some of the best stories. He has some of the best villains. I think he has the best villains, in my opinion. But overall, man, I was always a Batman fan. And just Christopher Nolan, man, what he was able to do after we had got those them George Clooney, Arnold Schwarzenegger Batmans, Jim Carrey, hell, Tommy Lee Jones is Two-Face, Val Kilmer, and all of them Batmans. Like, it got so silly. Like, they really wanted to turn, it wasn't even really comic book Batman. It was shit was silly. It was all over the place. Even with Tim Burton, his shit wasn't silly. It was just Tim Burton's style and what he did, but I enjoyed that. Going into them other ones, though, with Val Kilmer and Jim Carrey, I even kind of liked that one with Jim Carrey. I did. I kind of liked that one. But after that one, Arnold Schwarzenegger, I forgot, Uma Thurman, and all of that, Bane. Y'all remember that? Bane? And that, what is it, Batman Forever? No, it was Batman and Robin, wasn't it? I don't know. Anyway, man, the thing about it was leading up to getting into a movie like this and going into Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins. I don't know. I guess it just had been so long since watching a Batman movie and then getting that last one, because if I'm not mistaken, before Batman Begins, it was Batman and Robin, right? That was the last like live action Batman movie before Christopher Nolan came in. Let me know in the comment section if I'm wrong, but just leading up to that, I guess I just wasn't really looking forward to it. And this wasn't the internet age when Batman Begins came out. It might have been a little bit, but it wasn't as hardcore as it is now, with everybody debating movies, talking about them or whatnot. But when I finally had that chance to watch Batman Begins, it was just sitting there like everything they are doing with this. I ain't gonna say how dark the story was, because to me Batman Begins is not really that dark, besides having everything going on with Scarecrow and what he's doing, and even with Ra's al Ghul and the way he was able to position him and give him the abilities without giving him the abilities, if you understand what I'm saying. Because Ra's al Ghul abilities, if I'm not mistaken, he could turn into other people, right? Or get off the appearance of other people, if I'm not mistaken. But Christopher Nolan, putting that into Batman Begins and doing it in a way kind of like what they did, if I'm not mistaken, with Iron Man 3 with the whole not Mandalorian, I'm about to say Mandalorian, I'm tripping. But what they did with that thing, that scenario or whatnot. Anyway, even at the end of Batman Begins, when the tease of the Joker, and after you had just watched this movie and them going in this whole direction, making it the tone a whole lot more realer and giving Batman like this type of humanity, as far as showing Bruce Wayne going through everything he had went through leading up to him becoming Batman, I was just definitely on par with what they was doing there. I remember going to the movies. I think I can't remember the movie I went to go see, but I remember them showing that teaser for the Dark Knight, and all you heard was people talking, and you heard that laugh at the end of Heath Ledger's Joker, and I'm like, wait a minute. So going into this, I did have the privilege of going to see this in 2008 opening night. I remember going to see this with my brother. Rest in peace to my brother, man. And just sitting there, we on dates or whatnot, and just sitting there watching this movie, and we not paying attention to nothing around our dates or anything. Us just sitting there watching this movie and being blown away by these performances, man. Of course, let's get into it. Christian Bale, man, Bruce Wayne playing Batman. They kind of give you a little bit of that sense of detective mode in here, but the only thing about it is Joker is almost, it's a manipulation. It's like he kind of get into detective mode, but it's really not detective mode because it's a setup by the Joker. But anyway, just Christian Bale, as far as his Bruce Wayne appearance, the way he's able to put on that mask, because you could tell like this is the persona. This is not the guy he really is. He is really Batman. And when he does put on that suit, besides the voice, everybody always got to talk about the voice, man. It's just phenomenal seeing him come back on screen as Batman. And to this day, I'm going to give him his credit what credit is due. And I feel like Christian Bale is still the best Batman we have right now. I'm a fan of Michael Keaton. I love Michael Keaton's Batman. I think Michael Keaton's Batman is phenomenal, man, especially in that first Tim Burton one with him and Jack Nicholson and the chemistry they had. But watching Christian Bale, watching what he do, and like I said, coming out Batman Begins and going into this one, man, even if that beginning scene where you got them fake Batmans that show up and even having that appearance from Scarecrow, I was just already at an awe with just seeing him show up and doing what he's doing. I always remember though, I wasn't thinking about as far as the martial arts or even the fighting choreography as that much at that time watching the Christopher Nolan movies, because you want me to be honest, it's not really a lot of like fighting choreography like that, especially with Batman being that he is supposed to be like this mixed martial artist or whatnot. That's why I'm really a fan of what they do with Batman v Superman. Say what you want to say about Zack Snyder's Batman v Superman, but that warehouse scene is so Batman doing what we want to see Batman doing. And even with this new Batman what Matt Reeves is doing, the trailer is showing you him doing what he's doing as far as hand-to-hand combat and all of that. I want to see that, and it got glimpses of that, especially in The Dark Knight. But the thing about the writing for Christopher Nolan and the acting and the portrayals of the Joker and Batman, I was not even worrying about it. I was just so engaged in the story. I was so engaged in these characters. I wasn't really paying no mind to. I was paying mind to the action scenes. Don't get it twisted. I love the action scenes in here. I think they phenomenal. But I wasn't paying too much mind to the fighting sequences, the choreographed fighting scenes. I paid attention to it. I enjoyed it for what it was at that time. I just enjoyed it, but I was just so engaged with this story, man. Let's talk about what the movie mainly pertains as far as Heath Ledger's The Joker, man. Oh my gosh, man, the standout, absolute standout, phenomenal, man. The appearance of him at the beginning of the bank robbery scene, which we gonna talk about, just, you had so many people complaining about Heath Ledger coming in playing the Joker. Oh my gosh, the Brokeback Mountain guy, the teen movie guy, because you know he was doing all the teen movies back then, 10 Things I Hate About You and all of that, but as soon as he appeared on screen, in my opinion, and when I was sitting in that theater, I'm telling you, I'm sitting in that theater, I'm like, who is this guy? Who is this guy, man? I have never seen, let alone a Batman movie, but a comic book movie. Like, the way Heath Ledger portrays this role and what he's able to do with this role and where he's able to take it. Every scene he's in is you sitting there on intense. You sitting there not knowing what's going to happen because the movie, like, watching it from first appearance, watching it from that first time, not knowing what's going to happen towards the movie or what's going to happen in the middle, end, or whatnot. The Joker, Heath Ledger's Joker, is absolutely unpredictable. And every time he's in the scene, you're sitting there just watching him because the nigga is insane. He ain't nothing like, you'll sit here watching, as far as Heath Ledger's Joker, watching him portray this role, whether he's talking to the mafia guys, whether he's talking to Batman, whether he's talking to the police or whatnot, you just tense because you don't know what's going to happen because throughout the movie, all you seeing is him playing like this cat and mouse game with Batman. And it almost gave me feelings of like Michael Mann's Heat mixed with a little bit of Silence of the Lambs. You know, the whole relationship between Clarice and Hannibal. And it's got some of those motions as far as those feelings and those vibes with me as far as Christian Bale's Batman, Bruce Wayne, and the Joker or whatnot. Especially with them in the interrogation room and Joker sitting there telling him, I don't want to kill you. They're like, no, you give me life. What I'm going to go back to do? Ripping off mobsters or whatnot? Like, it's that whole dynamic between those two, those exchanges, but it's Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Joker, man, that just took it to so many different levels that made me I was just sitting in the theater trying to understand, that's Heath Ledger? I could not recognize him. For the life of me, I said, this ain't no way this is Heath Ledger. This cannot be Heath Ledger playing this role. This cannot be him. It did not sound like him. It did not look like him. His mannerisms, his facial expressions. It's one scene in particular where he had kidnapped somebody and he telling him to look at the camera. He like, look at me. When I'm telling you we in the theater, everybody in the theater is silent, looking at the screen like, we are feeling like Batman, or feeling like Bruce Wayne looking at that video camera while the Joker is talking, telling you his rules of engagement and everything he's saying or whatnot. But this is what I mean as far as taking comic book movies to a whole nother level, doing something that I hadn't seen before, man. Like, it took me out of this as far as even looking at a comic book movie. I'm just watching a phenomenal movie. And Heath Ledger being unrecognizable as the Joker, man. It was just phenomenal, man. Christopher Nolan being able to have multiple villains, too. That's another good thing. And that what takes me to Aaron Arquette, who plays Harvey Dent, a.k.a. Two-Face. I love this, man. And I think as far as Aaron Arquette, as far as his portrayal of Harvey Dent and Two-Face, don't get a lot of credit, but it's just what Heath Ledger did with the Joker. I mean, the man stole the movie. He damn near stole it from Christian Bale as far as Batman, but their relationship and the exchanges between them was just so good that it ended up making the movie just some more phenomenal and making you enjoy Christian Bale's Batman even more. But yeah, I feel like definitely the development, and this is what I mean as far as somebody like Christopher Nolan being able to bring in multiple villains, because throughout majority of his trilogy, if not all of them, he had multiple villains in all his movies. Batman Begins, Ra's al Ghul, Scarecrow, Dark Knight, Two-Face, Joker, Dark Knight Rises. You had Bane and Ra's al Ghul's daughter, if I'm not mistaken. And wasn't there somebody else in that was a villain or whatnot? I could be wrong. Y'all let me know in the comment section. But overall, I feel like Harvey Dent's character in the movie, I ain't saying he's overlooked, but you know, it's just that portrayal of him and the way the character is developed, because you had this guy that's out for justice. He's out for justice. He's trying to get justice or whatnot. And then when he ends up losing somebody that's really, really close to him that he ends up loving, and you see the development of this character turn all the way from being like this humble guy, this person that's all about justice, turn into this mass murdering villain. It's the development of it. This ain't Tommy Lee Jones Two-Face. This was the development of it, and that's Christopher Nolan's work. So that's one of the things I really enjoy about this movie. Like I said, I'm all a Joker. Heath Ledger's Joker. It's all about Heath Ledger's Joker throughout this movie, but what you know is going to happen at one point in period, because even after trailers or whatnot, we don't see what Two-Face is going to look like. I didn't never know what he was going to look like going into this movie or whatnot, but you know they was going to lead up to that point one way or another. So leading up to that point, making it almost towards the end of the movie, because you didn't take anything away from Heath Ledger's Joker, which I think wouldn't have happened anyway, but it's just leading up to what Harvey Dent was going through. And like I said, him losing somebody and him turning it into Two-Face, it's the development. It wasn't heavy-handed. It wasn't us getting a whole bunch of villains and us trying to follow this villain and that villain and the one third. No, the movie is mainly Joker and Batman, but when Two-Face shows up, it's definitely not out of place, and it feels just right. And that's the thing about this movie, man. That's why I'm saying I feel like it's damn near perfect, if not perfect. Rachel, played by Maggie Gyllenhaal, man, it's phenomenal the way. And let me know if I'm wrong. She, because you know Rachel is played by Katie Holmes in Batman Begins, but being that I don't know the situation or what happened with that, they brought in Maggie Gyllenhaal or whatnot. It didn't take me out of the movie. It didn't make me think that, oh snap, that was Katie Holmes. Why they got her now? Is this a different character? I was going with it because honestly, she somewhat looks like, I ain't gonna say she looks like Katie Holmes, but the appearance as far as that character that she's playing, as far as Rachel, it didn't take me out of the movie. But what they did with Rachel, and this is what I'm saying as far as just the surprises and the elements that Christopher Nolan was able to bring to this movie. I did not expect certain deaths. I did not expect certain things to happen. Dark Knight somewhat keeps you guessing, especially with, like I said, Heath Ledger's Joker, and even in certain deaths. In one scene where a dead fake Batman is hanging from the window, it's those scenes that takes you, like, you be sitting there just watching a full-out scene where somebody having a conversation, and boom, that one scene in particular where the fake Batman is hanging and hit the window. This is what I'm talking about, the unpredictability of the Joker and what he's able to do in this movie. The whole scene where he has this whole setup and you not even knowing. That's another thing. Joker swear he didn't have plans. He was just a dog chasing a bone. But throughout this movie, it seemed like he was coming up with a lot of plans. I'm just saying. But that whole scene and the whole thing and the whole exchange as far as Rachel and them doing that, I'm expecting both of them gonna be safe. You know what I'm saying? You going into these movies like this, you're thinking everybody gonna get out. This is how they do these comic book movies. No. The fact that she ends up dying, not knowing, like, they end up taking the main character away, Rachel, like, this ain't even, like, this is the middle of the movie. This ain't even the end of the movie. This is the middle of the movie and showing you the stakes, how high the stakes are. And this is what I'm saying as far as these type of movies, as far as this being a comic book movie. It took the stakes to a whole nother level. It did something that I feel like other comic book movies had not done, because you have all these characters in these comic book movies. You know they're going to be safe. You know they're going to be straight to the end, especially if this is the girlfriend of one of the main heroes that we the main heroes that we rooting for or whatnot. You know they're gonna be safe or whatnot. Not in the Dark Knight and not in the Christopher Nolan's Batman movie. He takes all that away and he makes the stakes so high. You're talking about people dying. Heath Ledger's Joker's coming here and taking out police commissioners that was in previous movies, people that you remember that you thinking, no, they're not going to take this route, and they ended up doing it. And those the type of leaks and boundaries that I feel like Dark Knight goes over and beyond, being that it was supposed to be just this comic book movie, but it's way, way beyond that, man. I don't want to forget, as far as talking about Alfred, I'm sorry, I apologize, I'm going to tell you right now, the actor's name, and I know this is a very popular actor, I know this actor's name, I just can't remember it at the moment, but just his portrayal of Alfred, and it pertaining in the Dark Knight in particular, because more in the Dark Knight, I feel like he's more of warning Bruce Wayne as far as Batman, as far as Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne. Alfred is more so warning him of things that he's putting up with, more things, as far as the risk he's taking, because he's getting more riskful as far as the routes he's taking as far as Bruce Wayne and whatnot, especially going into this movie or whatnot, because it's in certain scenes where I almost feel like Christian Bale's Batman or Bruce Wayne is getting kind of cocky as far as his Batman, especially when the opening scene where you got Gordon talking to him or whatnot. And I didn't forget about Gary Oldman's portrayal of Gordon. I'm definitely gonna get to that. But it's that scene where in the beginning where they talking about the money, the counterfeit money or whatnot. It ain't counterfeit money, but it's them talking about the money, and you got him talking about what about this Joker guy as far as Gordon, and Batman pretty much saying, you want to worry about one guy or you want to worry about the mob? Him pretty much like, nah, I'm good. I ain't got to worry about this one dude. And it ended up being the Joker was the guy you needed to worry about or whatnot. But it's those things in particular, like I said, in the exchanges between Alfred and Christian Bale's Batman, aka Bruce Wayne, that I really enjoy, especially in The Dark Knight, because Alfred is just that guidance guy. He's that guy that's trying to guide as far as Bruce Wayne in the direction, and he sees how far Bruce is willing to take it. And you got Bruce telling him like, no, Batman has no limits. Batman can go above and beyond, but you got Alfred pretty much telling him, no, you still Bruce Wayne. Just when you put on this suit, like you still is Bruce Wayne. But anyway, man, I just really love their exchanges, and I love the things that they're going through as far as, especially when the Joker show up, because it's like Joker has no limits. Joker do whatever he's going to do, and that's what pretty much Alfred is telling telling Bruce Wayne, because Batman, the no-kill rule and all of that, you have rules. The Joker doesn't, and that's pretty much what Alfred is trying to explain to him. Gary Oldman's portrayal of Gordon, man. Like I said, man, I feel like The Dark Knight has so many different elements of surprises, and you get these moments in here, like I said, where the stakes are so high, you like, you telling me they're gonna kill Commissioner? Come on, man, ain't no way they taking out Gordon. And in that scene, I'm like, oh shit, they did it, they doing it. So when you have the whole thing as far as the setup with Gordon and Batman working together, so they can get the Joker, but then the Joker had his own plan. It's like, come on, man. But I feel like this is almost, I ain't gonna say this is Gordon's origin story, but it's kind of his character development too. Him being brought in, and you know, with everything that's going on, him being turned into Commissioner Gordon in this movie. That's one of the things I really love as far as Christopher Nolan's trilogy. And I feel like Gordon and Harvey Dent had some of those similarities as far as the character development, especially as far as Gary Oldman's Gordon, being him from the first movie as far as Batman Begins going into this, and then, you know, with Joker killing the other commissioner and him being brought in and turned into commissioner, character development, like I said. So it's the I feel like Christian Bale and Heath Ledger, as far as Batman and Joker, I feel like they definitely had the better chemistry in the movie. I feel like he had good chemistry with everybody, because I feel like in Batman Begins, Christian Bale had a lot better chemistry with Gary Oldman, but that's because that was the build-up of what they were going to have going on going into this movie. You know, with him having a light shining and everything, and if I'm not mistaken, they ain't had that in Batman Begins until the end, right? Well, anyway, man, before I get off of this, I definitely have to talk about one of the best scenes, the opening scene, man. The opening scene of this movie, phenomenal. Like, once again, you're going into a comic book movie. This is a Batman movie. But the way they do this opening scene is like, you talking about watching movies like Michael Mann's Heat. You talking about watching those other movies. What's the other ones? In particular, though, it's Michael Mann's Heat. Robert De Niro, Val Kilmer, Al Pacino or whatnot. And this whole scene, to me, it gives that vibe off of Michael Mann's Heat. And to me, I'm pretty sure Christopher Nolan played off that somewhat. But that's what I meant by having somewhat a mixture of Heat and feeling like Silence of the Lambs, man, because this opening scene, like, where have you seen an opening scene like this as far as in a comic book movie? And having everybody having, like I said, once again, Joker being so malicious as far as Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Joker, and him coming up with this whole plan and having each bank robber take each other out, leading up to just him being the only one left doing what he doing. Like I said, man, phenomenal open, and that's another thing as far as just the unpredictability of Joker and what Christopher Nolan was able to do with The Dark Knight, and just the movie being unpredictable. I didn't have no idea what was coming, man. Another thing I really enjoyed was the whole Batman does not kill rule. And it's the limits he is being pushed to in this movie, especially by the Joker, because it's almost like you have two scenes. The scene, you know, in the middle of the street where Batman is on the motorcycle and you got Joker standing in the middle like, come on, hit me. And that's what I'm saying. You got Christian Bale's Batman, I mean, as far as Bruce Wayne sitting there like, I want to hit this nigga so bad, I want to kill him, I want to take him out. But it's that type of portrayals, like I said, it's those boundaries is pushing him, because you know Batman doesn't kill. Look at the first Batman Begins when you had Ra's al Ghul as far as Liam Neeson's character trying to get him to kill a prisoner or whatnot at the beginning of that, and you know his character, I mean his portrayal of Bruce Wayne or whatnot being the person no, I'm not gonna do that or whatnot. So the way they do this one though, and as far as Christopher Nolan's genius as far as his writing, and then like I said, everybody in the, you know, they know the whole rule as far as Batman and him being pushed so hard, even with Joker doing what he doing with Rachel as far as killing her or whatnot, and him still not taking them out, man. But it's Heath Ledger's Joker. Like every time he came close to getting killed by the Batman, this nigga was hyped. He was hyped, like he wanted to die by the hands of Batman. But it was him trying to push Batman to do what he felt like, as far as the same thing he did as far as with Harvey Dent. Because you know the whole thing as far as Harvey Dent being out for justice or whatnot, and then him doing what, as far as Joker doing what he did with Rachel, he was basically trying to do that same thing as far as with Batman, saying if he can push him to that limit, the same limit that he ended up pushing Harvey Dent to, turning into Two-Face. But overall, man, like I said, this was the comic book movie for me. And until this day, it's still the #1 comic book movie for me out of all comic book movies. Out of MCU movies, DC movies, old, new, or whatever, this is the #1 comic book movie for me, and it's definitely in my top 3 movies of all time. I've watched this movie so many times, man. I even tried to, because I knew I was going to do this review, I was like, I'm going to try to watch The Dark Knight, and me just sitting there watching, I'm like, man, honestly, I can't even get all the way through it. I done watched it so much. I feel like everybody's like that. That's why even coming on here doing this, it's like, what can I say that nobody else has said? But I wanted to definitely give my opinion. And just having, like I said, I was one of the lucky people that had that experience of going to see this movie on opening night, man. 2008, not knowing what this was going to turn into, not even knowing how good it was going to be. Come on, man. Like I said, though, overall, this is, like I said, the best comic book movie to date for me. Y'all let me know in the comment section. Is this the best comic book movie to date, or do y'all feel like it's other ones out there that's came out better than this after or before this? Let me know in the comment section. But that's pretty much my review and my opinion as far as how I felt about The Dark Knight at the time and how I still feel about it. Y'all let me know in the comment section. Do it feel like that I didn't mention certain things that y'all feel like I should have mentioned? Like I said, this movie has been talked about, it's been broke down, it's been reviewed, spoiled, all of that, man. This came out in 2008, it's 2022. It was too much more. I don't know what more I could say besides how I felt about the movie and me going into it and how I still feel about it. But other than that, y'all let me know in the comment section how y'all feel about The Dark Knight. Other than that, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that notification bell to let you know when I upload new videos. This is the road to 500 subs. Shout out to all my subscribers. Shout out to everybody who recently subscribed to my channel. I appreciate everybody who takes time just to watch me do what I do. Yeah.
You'll see. I'll show you. You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
I don't feel comfortable unless I know I went above and beyond with my preparation. The things that possibly could happen, if I ain't take real steps to prevent those things, I'm not comfortable. I can't walk around, you know, charismatic and happy. Nah, I gotta make sure, you know, we setting up some type of wealth, because